So today we are here for the analytics workshop, and we have a very special guest with us, Mr. Athul Viswam, who is a Senior Business Analyst at Kearney and is a graduate of Aerospace Department of 2019 batch. And he'll be walking us through whatever the field, what is the domain of analytics, and what is the scope for what are the future scopes in analytics. So what do you say?
Right. Just before we jump into what our workshop we are here for, let me quickly do an analysis on who you people are. How many of you are fourth year students sitting for placement? Okay, not sitting for placement, but you are fourth year student. You're dual degree. Okay, last year final year student, fourth and fifth year students. Okay, the placement pointers are done. Third year students. 1, 2. Okay. Second year. Oh, okay. This is nice. I know you didn't tell me this. Yeah, you're also second year. Oh, nice. MTech, PhD. Okay, sorry, MTech only. Okay, and PhD. Are you also sitting for placements? What is the? Just trying to understand the audience and at any point of time during this PPT. I mean, I'm a consultant. I make PPTs and Excel for a living. So if you have any doubt, please feel free to stop and ask questions. If I don't know, I'll say I don't know, or I'll say I'll get back to you. That's my polite way of saying I don't know. Okay, you can reach me out in my on my email right out here. If you are interested in connecting, you can always do that. But before I even jump into the session, let me quickly tell you a few things. It'll take 2 minutes to first of all thank you for having me here. It's wonderful to be back. After like 3 years. Couple of things. First thing is use of alumni. One thing I did not do in my undergrad is not really connect with alumni, which I really regretted, and I realized the impact of that after I graduated, after I started working, when I started looking for opportunities out, right? So when I was one of you on the other side of the table, I did not attend a lot of alumni session. I attended like maybe 20% of it, not because I wanted to, but because my uncle was in the executive alumni committee, and whenever he used to come, I used to come and attend all the alumni event. Then I realized that once I started working and you want to look out for opportunities, then I realized how important a role an alum could play. In fact, not to brag, well of course I do, but got calls from big shot investment banks and consulting companies while I was working because there were alums who thought I was good enough. So I want all of you to reach out to your alums. Let me remind you, social capital is the next network. So please connect to all your alums, exploit them as much as you can. Cool. So let's start. How many of you are actually interested in analytics? Or are you hearing this term for the first time? Okay. What excites you the most? What is your name, bro? Yeah. Miraj. Where are you from? Karnataka. Okay. What interests you the most in analytics?
I don't know. I'm just here to find out.
Oh, okay. But you're still excited about it. Yeah. Okay. How many of you actually worked on analytics or some projects or something like that, and then that sort of interests you? Nobody has worked. What is AE 102 doing, dude? There's a data analytics course somewhere, right? Oh, you don't know? So, data analytics is a basic course, right? It's a first year course, no? Oh, there is a. I didn't get you. What were you saying? It's for some departments. Okay, how many of you are from aerospace, by the way? I was from aero. Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, good to see a lot of participation from my own department. You can also raise your hands. You are also from aero. Right. So before I bore you any further, let me walk through what we are here for today. We'll start with what is analytics, why should you do it, and how are you going to do it. That's what I'm hoping you are here for. And second thing is a career in analytics, right? All of you are sitting on a seat for placements. You don't have to take notes. There's no test after this. And third part, we'll be walking through a day in the life of an analyst or a data scientist or whatever you call it. Fourth thing is, now that you become a data scientist, what are you going to do with it, right? Like, what are the future career options? How are you going to grow in your career? Fifth one, I'll walk you through a mini analytical case study. I hope your computers are ready. Excel is up and working. If not, it may be a good time to, start downloading Excel if you haven't. Hope it's free with Windows. And sixth thing, which is probably the most important slide, is how do you crack interviews, right? By the way, you guys don't need laptop right now. You can close it if you want, or if you. And I used to do this in my lectures, right? Like, so open it and do something else. So now I know what you're doing. You better not do. Right. So what is analytics? Can one of you just describe? Now that I know your name, bro, why don't you tell me what is analytics? You're excited about it, isn't it?
Honestly, I don't know. I need to find out.
Okay,
We're
okay.
using data to find insights.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's actually true. Oh, I wrote it here, is it? Okay. So analytics is about answering questions. It doesn't matter what question it is. It could be a business question. It could be a theoretical question from a bunch of data, right? By the way, analytics jobs are considered the sexiest jobs of 21st century. If you did not know, if you want to brag about it. Yeah, flexing. Now, why is it so important? Why is it in the 21st century that we are running behind analytics so much, right? Why was it not there last century? Okay. Yeah, sorry, who was answering for you? Ah, yeah. Yes, sir. What's your name? Arun. Yeah, tell me. Absolutely. Correct. Got it. That's actually a very good answer. So there are two reasons to it. One is, as he mentioned, the ability to collect data, ability to generate data, in a massive scale, right? And the amount of digitalization that we have seen in the last 10 years. How many of you have seen that Dabba phone that you have seen? Please raise your hands. I don't want to feel old. So, yeah, okay. Oh, okay. That's a good audience. So, from that, in the last 10 years, now you're all using smartphones, iPhones, and whatever, right? Can you imagine the exponential growth? It's not a linear growth. The amount of data that or the RAM that you have is exponentially growing if you look at the numbers, right? That's one reason. Second reason is the ability to understand data, right? You have servers, computer scientists, the growth of mathematics, everything put together, your ability to churn out insight from the data. These are the two reasons why you should get excited about analytics. Okay. Now, what is in store for you if you are into analytics? The first thing is, now that analytics is growing, it is expected to grow extremely high, at an extremely high CAGR in the next 5 to 10 years because of two reasons. India has become somewhat outsourcing destination for the rest of the world, where you understand, okay, there's a lot of human resources. This country is overloaded with human beings with a lot of talent, so why not we go and dump our work there, right? And the second reason is that the analytics industry itself is growing. So you won't have any trouble with your personal professional growth, and the demand is only growing. So when I was a data scientist after my undergrad, I used to get at least one offer like in every 2-3 months saying, hey, look, why don't you join our organization? We have a position for data scientist empty. We have a position for data analyst empty. Why don't you join? Right? Second aspect of this particular industry is it is transferable across industries. Industry agnostic in some way. You don't have to be specializing one industry, at least when you start off a career in analytics. I was with banking sector. I was working on loans and all those boring stuff that most of you won't like. But you can put the same analytics, same ideas, same logic into any other industry. I'll come up with some use cases for you. And third thing, the favorite part, compensation, right? Who doesn't like money? It's slightly higher, and to be honest, the compensation to work-life balance ratio is much higher in analytics than honestly consulting. I do that, I have done both, so I can give a benchmark. Now I told you that it is transferable across industries, right? So what are some of the problems that you eventually tend to solve? Let's say I start off with banking, so I just put it there for no specific reason. One of the coolest analytics tactics that banks employ is credit card fraud. Credit card fraud. How many of you have credit cards? Okay, only the MTech and PhD folks, right? You need to start earning money to have a credit card if you did not know. So don't worry, in a couple of years you will all have. So, sorry, you already have it?
I hope.
Oh, okay. Don't worry, you will have it, bro. So the problem is, how do you know if a credit card is not used by you? Let's say I have 5 different credit cards in my wallet and I lost one of them, right? And what if he finds it and he starts swiping it, right? It's a credit card. I can always claim an insurance on that and say that, look, I did not do it. I have proof for that. Now the bank should pay for it, right? And what if it is like a 5 lakh transaction? Will you do that?
That's
No?
not possible.
Why? Why?
There's a cap, I guess.
Okay. I have a 6 lakhs credit card, dude.
Okay, then
Yeah. You are underestimating me, bro.
I would never do that.
You won't do it? I have a company credit card without any limits. So, and all of them have this tap function. How many of you know this tap function? You don't have to put in your numbers and all, right? I am not telling you won't. I would do it if I were you. 5 lakhs, dude. So how do you know if it's a transaction that I have done, right? So there is a historic bunch of data that the company has, basis my transaction, the time of my transaction, type of transactions that I do, and basis that there is a model for everybody saying, hey, Atul will not do, what do you want to spend money on with this 5 lakhs? What do you think? If you are given a credit card without any limit, what would you spend it on? Taking too much time, bro. Okay.
It's a lot of money. I need to think.
Okay, fine. So let's say recently have a car loan and he's going to buy another car with that credit card. So it shows that, hey, look, there is no reason for me to spend on another car, right? So it flags it and gives you a call. The credit card company will give you a call and ask you, are you actually doing this transaction? Right? A lot of times you will eventually face this. This is one of the analytics engines that the companies use. There are many more use cases. How many of you have seen, how many of you have Netflix account? I mean, how many of you use Netflix? That's even more, right? I am still a parasite to one of my undergrad friends. I don't have my own, I use somebody else's account. How many of you actually have noticed the, there's like a row, right? For everything, there is a, recommendations on horror movies, comedy movies, drama. And do you know that it's very unique to you? It is based on what you actually have watched in the past. I wish I could open my Netflix, but you will judge me, but so I'm not opening it. So, sorry? Oh, you want? Oh, you still want to see? I'll show it to you after this, bro. So that is a huge level analytics that has been done in the back end. In fact, the core of Netflix is the analytics engine. There is nothing that Netflix is doing, right? It's just showing you some movies. But knowing exactly what movies you would like and reducing your search time and the number of clicks is what the analytics engine is doing. So if you are in a business school, the professor will come with a stick, not a stick, what is a pointer, and he will show you these kind of slides and tell you, okay, this is the competitive advantage of Netflix, which is nothing but the algorithm sitting on top of it. Of course, I'm not going through, do I have time? No, I don't think I have time. But I'll take a couple of more use cases. Which one would you be able to relate to? Well, I think aviation you would, maybe because I'm aerospace. So one of the complex challenges of aviation is to know which plane should go from which airport at what time, right? Should I put a 180-seater from Mumbai to Delhi on a Sunday morning, or should I put a 120-seater? And do I have a 120-seater if I need to put it, right? Given I have like 100 other routes to worry about. So basis your demand data, basis your supply data, which is coming from your company, you are going to build some engines and going to predict, look, on a Sunday morning, 10 o'clock, nobody's going to travel, let's put a 120-seater, it's going to optimize my cost and revenue. So that's one of the use cases in aviation. I'm sure many of you would have experienced this. Sure, some of you would be building some of the engines back in your, I don't know, like have you done any course on machine learning? You have done. Oh, you have done a lot of things in life. What else have you done?
I did DSP.
Oh, okay, who is teaching that? Oh, okay, nice. So you will understand a lot of ML that we are going to do, is it? Okay. So by the way, we are not going to do a lot of ML, but the case study I'll show you some of it. It's not mandatory for you to do. It is not relevant for this particular workshop. Cool. We'll come back to it, the slide later if we have time. Now coming to a career analytics, right? And what is in store for you? So there are 3 different dimensions to analytics. One is called the business, where you know the end-to-end value chain of the company, who are our customers, who are our vendors, how are we making money, what are our cost structures, what are the KPIs of interest, those kind of things. The second part is the math part. How many of you like mathematics? MA 105. You don't have to lie, it's okay, I also don't like much. Only 3 people. Oh, that's not a lie then. Nobody likes mathematics, is it? You don't like mathematics? Okay. Sorry bro, but please do like it. Third part is technology, where you write computer programs and all, because we human beings are not capable of comprehending all the data in hand or to generate insights from it. We need a computer, and in a way we need to program it. Now based on what you have, there are 4 different roles out here. Okay. if you want to do a little bit of business and you are good at math, you want to like, generate predictions and stuff, that's where you call quant analyst, product analyst, those kind of roles. Okay. And now, you decide, hey, look, I don't want to look at how your company is going to work. I am happy with my mathematics. I am happy with technology. I'm happy with research. Then the roles offered are ML engineers or AI engineers, AI strategists, those kind of roles, which you are generally, find in companies like Qualcomm, all the research focused companies, right? Like Microsoft and those kind of things. Now, you say, look, I'm not much of a maths guy. So maybe you can look at it. I want to do a bit of business because that's where the money is. And then a bit of technology. I like coding. Then a job for you would be a data analyst. Okay. If you can bear some maths, some technology, some business, you are at a unique position called data scientist. Cool. Any questions on that? We'll come to, types of questions that you will be solving in some time for each of these 4 types of roles. Any questions? Nobody has any questions. Right, too clear is it? So these are the 4 different roles or 4 different buckets that we were discussing. So just to tell you what kind of, so the boundaries are very wavy, I would say very blurred, and there's no specific boundary. You will find companies hiring for data scientists and will give you data analyst work. You will find companies asking you to be an ML engineer and you may be doing data analyst job at the end of the day. So, but these are like broadly 4 types of job. In data scientists, the problems that we'll be solving is, let's say you are a big financial institution and let's say a credit card, for example, or a telecom. In telecom companies, one of the biggest problems that they face is customer churn, right? When Airtel was up and running, then Jio came in and a lot of customers, boom, went from Airtel to Jio, right? And the companies want to predict who are these customers who are gonna, sort of leave them in some time so that they can run special promotion campaigns, right? And that is called a customer churn prediction problem. It's a very classic problem in analytics. So you as a data scientist will be dealing with that problem. So you will be given a broad statement saying, hey, look, customers are attriting or customers are leaving the firm. Why don't you go around and find some solution to it? It will be just as ambiguous as this. You want to know what to do. You want to know, how to do, but you will come up with a structure to it and then you will at the end of the solve it, right? Now, as a data analyst, it is about generating insights from the existing data. What happens is, you are given, let's say, the revenue data of last 10 years, and you'll be asked to come up with something like a customer persona. Who are the customers who are buying more? Who are the customers who we are spending on more? Those kind of questions. ML engineer is slightly different. There you will be actually doing a little bit of research, improving existing algorithms, right? Maybe you'll be hired by Netflix for all we know and they might ask you to improve the algorithms that are powering up your recommendation engines that you see each row of it, right? And comes quant analyst. Here you will be at a very unique position where you have some domain experience, domain knowledge, and you will also be doing a lot of mathematics. So here you would probably won't be explicitly coding, but it's again depending on the firm. A lot of firms, especially research firms, quantitative trading firms, they hire for quant analysts and still give you a data scientist job. There you will be looking at, let's say, last 10 years of data and ways of predicting who the next customer would be. You may not be asked to predict it, but ways of predicting. So again, these are not like, there's no boundary to it, one will overlap with another. But these are 4 unique types of roles that analytics generally offer. So how is the day of a data scientist structured, right, or an analyst structured? It will start with a business problem in hand. Most of the time, the senior leadership will reach out to you and ask you, hey, can you do this up for me? Like, for example, customer prediction, right? Like, how do I predict my customer attrition? It's just a very ambiguous statement, like one-liner. There's no right answer or, there's no one immediate answer to it. So then what you do is you will think about your existence and, why are you here in the company? Why did I get into this and all this stuff again? Then you get into the reality and say, hey, look, what data should I use to see? I mean, honestly, what is attrition? How many of you know what attrition is? You don't know? Attrition is when a customer leaves a firm. Okay, when a customer stops using the services of a firm, right? And it may or may not be implicit. Like if you want to drop out of IIT, it becomes very explicit, right? You will write an email to the dean and say, okay, look, I'm leaving. So the company knows it. What if it is Netflix or let's say a free service like YouTube? Company would never know that you are not using it, right? I mean, of course, you will not be using it, but the company would always be thinking you are still a customer. There is no mention from your side to the company that look, we are leaving. So then you decide what type of company you are in, then you look at what type of data we can use and all. And first, before that, how do you define customer attrition, right? Is it an email from the customer saying, hey, look, I'm going to leave in the next 2 months? Or is it that the business that you are doing with the customer is declining, where you look at the month on month and say, look, 80% reduction in the last month to this month, customer is gone, right? Those are the KPIs that you define. Then you go and talk to all the finance people and say, hey, look, this is the definition I am going to use to a customer who has left. Is it okay? So a lot of alignment with the stakeholders are critical at this stage. And then once you get your data, you start analyzing it and say, hey, look, is there a relationship between the variables that I am going to use with the output, right? Let's say customer complaints. How do you think it is related? Is it a positive correlation, negative correlation? The customer complaints has increased. What do you think? The customer is going to drop out, or is it, what do you think? Chances of dropping out are more. Anybody saying the opposite?
The customer wants you to improve, that's why he feels it.
Correct. That's actually good. Both of your answers are correct in two different. That is true. Well, there is no right answer to it. The answer is both. When I was working, I was surprised when I saw the phenomenon you mentioned. That I was looking at customer attrition for the company that I was working with, and then I realized that people who are actually staying, they actually have more complaints than normal. I was like, how is this happening, right? Realized that the company did not have any competitors in the field, so they have to stick with that company. So, the monopoly works out, right? And the more you use, the more you, more issues you figure out. And since the company is on a monopoly, you don't want to improve that much. You're not recording and publishing it, right, openly. Right. Once you have your exploratory data analysis done, you then decide what model to sort of put this in and predict or do a classification. And then you deploy the model to the people who are actually using it, right? Like as a data scientist or analyst, you won't be using this, right? For you, you only care about your paycheck, so you don't really have to worry too much about the customers and all. So you give it to the sales team, who are actually the client-facing side of the company. And here, how do you give it, right? Are you going to give it as a notebook, Python notebook? You guys know Python notebook, right? Or okay, it's just a platform to code, and results come in very weird way. So how are you going to do it? Are you going to put it on Excel and then send it to the sales team every day morning saying that, hey, look, this customer is going to leave in the next 3 months, please go and contact him, give him this, give him that. Are you going to do that? Too cumbersome, right? I mean, who likes putting in effort? So what you do is you build a dashboard out of it. Probably a live dashboard where the customer, where the sales reps can every day log in and look at the list of customers that are probably going to leave. Okay, and this is generally done by data analysts, or there's a specialized role called business intelligence analysts, where they are focused on building dashboards using Tableau, Power BI, etc. And now you're done, you think your job is done, but no, then you start receiving complaints from the sales team saying, hey, look, half of the things you are predicting is wrong. Now what will you do, right? So you go back and iterate it saying, oh, look, I missed out on this, missed out on that, and there's a continuous feedback. So just because your Netflix is giving you algorithms, good recommendations now, does not mean that Netflix is not improving its algorithm, right? There's always room for improvement, and that's what a data scientist or a data analyst would do. This is a cycle, right? You go back here and then you keep iterating it till you leave the company. Right. Now that you become a data scientist or data analyst or whatever role that you are excited about, now what is it in store for? What is in store for you, right? What career roadmap can I take? Well, one way is you can focus on the industry. You become an analyst or a junior analyst. There are different terms when you join in a company. Most of the time it's data scientist 1, junior data scientist, associate data scientist, those kind of roles. And then you become a senior analyst, then you become a manager, then you become a director, and then you become a VP, and some sort of settle in there. Generally, C-suite, yes, this has become a trend now that C-suite, you know what C-suite is, right? CXOs, CFOs, those kind of roles. Now there's a chief digital officer also. So sometimes you advance to the chief digital officer, chief information officer, those kind of roles. But I mean, I haven't seen a lot of CEOs coming from analytics, but it's okay. Unless you are an analytics focused firm, it's like if you're in manufacturing or something, it's very hard for somebody to adopt you as a CEO, right? But it's okay. Or you can go to academia, where you can do a master's or a PhD in advanced analytics, computer science, AI. This has become all the cool words, you know, universities have started making money out of it, right? And once you do that, again, you can join back the industry as advanced analytics role. So sometimes what happens is that you will end up becoming this by skipping this if you do a master's. And you can also end up in product. This is not exhaustive. I can like build 100 such roles here. Or you can do what I have done. You can do an MBA or any other business degree out there and then get into consulting, product management, banking, operations, any of these roles. So what I'm trying to tell you is analytics is such a versatile career where you can literally branch into anything. You can get into software development if you are willing to put in that work. You can get into any other industry when you are at the entry level or like a mid-senior level. Once you specialize in one domain, let's say banking or manufacturing or let's say aviation, for like a consistently or a considerably longer period of time, then you have to stick on with that industry. Any questions on that? No. This is a possible career map. Consulting, analytics is a huge part of consulting. Let me be very honest. Like as a consultant, I spend a lot of time looking at the data and trying to understand what they are doing. Those kind of things. But analytics is the base of everything. Without analytics, most of the industries also don't work. Because data has become so important, so is the data-driven decision making. So yeah. Consulting is more about solving business problems, need not involve analytics. Like for example, they will still have some bent of analytics, but analytics is, it's like an upper, just an upper strata, and then consulting, use some analytics and then you work on it. Like for example, in consulting, you will have clients coming to you and say, hey, look, I want to look at my expenses or costs, and can you do a cost transformation for me? There will still be some elements of analytics where you look at the numbers, but it also depends on how much of business knowledge that you have, right? Look at the industry and say, hey, look, compared to the industry, your cost structure is slightly higher, so you can cut down in this bucket, right? I'll show in the case study you will get to see that, but yeah, it's slightly different. There is analytics consulting also, where you only focus on numbers, like companies like, am I allowed to name companies, Sanjay? Oh, okay. Or you like...
we had a consulting workshop before this, and they were talking about companies where they work in.
Okay. So companies like EXL, they all do a lot of analytics consulting. So EXL comes for campus placements, right? 4th years. Huh? Bain McKinsey. FinMec. Yeah, they are financial consulting. They do a lot of consulting in a specific branch. EXL is generic, only analytics. So if you think of it, analytics is like a vertical. A horizontal, and vertical being one of your industries. Okay. How do I show that? Okay, I thought I'll never touch whiteboard, but it's like this. This is your banking, this is your manufacturing, and analytics form a horizontal like this. So EXL is this whole line, fin mechanics could be this. Any questions? Feel free to, yeah, somebody was asking. Any questions? No questions on salary, compensation? Most important part. You want to know salary? You would love to. I don't know if I can divulge that information openly. If there was no recording, I would have told you. But after the session, you can come and ask me. But definitely higher than normal, and more importantly, compared to the work life you're gonna get, definitely worth it, dude. Right.
How is like growth in analytics compared to other domains?
Like consulting, it's actually equally, I would say they are kind of equal. Consulting growth is definitely high, as you would have learned in consulting workshop. But yes, analytics growth is also high, not because of the reason as consulting is, but because the industry itself is growing and the demand is so huge, and the learning curve in analytics is also extremely high. So you grow as much as you learn, right? So if you learn more, you grow faster. That is the reason, one of the reasons why consulting is a high growth industry, because you learn so much in a very short period of time. Cool. So let's do a quick analytics case study if you are still up. How many of you are comfortable with Excel? Microsoft Excel? Okay. Not so many. But let me tell you guys, if you are planning to do analytics or to that matter any job except for hardcore software engineering, Excel is going to be your bread and butter. I was telling Anirudh that it employs like 80-90% of the population. Most of your day will be opening up Excels and looking at data, numbers, making insights and all. So it's not mandatory to get an entry level job, by the way. Okay. When I said business is what you do and blah blah, you don't have to have any knowledge on business at this point, right? I had absolutely no idea how to work on Excel when I interviewed. I had absolutely no idea what the company was doing at that point of time, and my interviewer pointed it out. I had absolutely basically the business part of it. The only thing I knew was how to write Python codes. Okay. कुछ नहीं पूछता. Don't worry. Excel is out of the interview. हाँ. But even if the answer is no, it's not going to change it, is what I'm telling you. So you are not expected to know anything. All you need to have is an enthusiasm to learn. Like nobody knows. Sorry. No, bro. Even consulting won't ask that. Where you spend like 90% of the time in Excels, and I can safely say that because I do that for a living. I earn my bread and butter with Excels and PowerPoint. I still don't know a lot of macros. So it's okay. It's never asked. Your technical skills are not considered at the Excel level at least. But logical level, yes. How do you logically approach a problem? That is what we're going to see in the problem. DSA is good to have. It's not mandated to have. It's good to know the complexity of algorithms, but I don't remember getting asked that question anywhere. Like, yeah, I mean, if you have some background in computer science, you've done a minor in computer science, or you are from computer science branch, then, well, yes, they might ask you. But that is not to see if you know DSA very well. It's to see you actually paid attention in classes. That's it. Do you? Oh, okay. Do you have a computer science minor? Have you done DSA? Oh, okay. It's a good course to do. I don't have a computer science minor, but I still did it just for the fun of it. So how many of you have your computers ready? Let's quickly look at some numbers. Can you all take out your computers? You don't have a computer? Okay. Don't worry, you can come and work on my computer. Or you can see the stuff that other people are doing, it's fine. So the data file and the problem statement, both of it can be found here. You won't find the memes in the file because, I removed it for this particular thing. So why don't you please scan this and get the data file downloaded. And you don't have a computer? Oh, you don't want to do this, is it? Too cool for analytics, huh? Okay. Is it working? Okay. You have it? Yeah, you can. But it involves a bit of analysis. You don't have a computer. What is your name? Anmol, okay. Which branch are you in? What mechanical software? Which branch are you in? Are you? Oh, okay. So this guy is. What's your name? Okay. Oh, sorry, I did not get your name. Economics. I think economics started when I was in the last year, right? 2017. Oh, okay. Well, it is basically first principle problem solving and a bit of coding at the entry level. A bit of it, but not always. You can still become a data analyst without knowing any of it. Because at the entry level, I'm hoping you're asking for entry level role. For that, you are not expected to know a lot of things except two things that an interviewer will look at. Sir? There's a slide on that, on what skill set you have to brush up on and those kind of. So you're expected to know the basics of analytics, okay? You cannot say ki I like analytics and then I don't know anything about hypothesis testing, linear regression. Those kind of things you can prepare for, right? Technical skills wise, it's a gained skill. If somebody is working on Excel very fast, it's because they have worked on it very fast. So at this level, it's not expected to know it. What's your name? ANKH. Okay. Which branch are you from? Oh, okay. So data science is a career that you want to pick up, is it? Yeah. Oh, okay. Don't worry, we'll walk through the mini case study and then you will realize what skill set. Yeah. But since you are from a master's background, a bit of, do you have a background in coding? Some Python, some MATLAB? Okay. If not, you can always build it up, guys. You can take a course on Coursera, edX or something. Just get basic Python done. That really helps. I'm not saying it is mandatory, but it's good to have. And also, please brush up the basic theories, right? Like linear regression, logistic regression. I don't know if decision trees is still basic, but you can brush up on that. All of you are done with downloading the Excel file case? Done? Okay, wonderful. So the case is that, right, what is the problem statement? So let's say you enter into a company which is a financial institution right after your IIT Bombay graduation, and your CFO is asking you, hey boy, come here, help me find a way of improving the bottom line of the company. Okay. Now the first question is, what on earth is a bottom line? How many of you know what a bottom line is? Who was it? It's profit. Yeah, you seem to know a lot of things. What's your name? Hush. Which background? What background are you? Economics. Oh, okay. Which year? Third year. Okay. This is actually correct. It's the profit line. So just to give you some background, and this is where the business is coming in, right? So you understand ki, now we are going to understand a bit of business. So bottom line is the profit of a company. Okay. So let's look at the data. Now you said that you want to improve the bottom line of a company, right? Now this is called the profit and loss statement of a company. Every company has three types of statements. One is called the balance sheet, and second is called profit and loss statement. Third is called the cash flow statement. There is one more statement called equities, but not really needed. So this statement or this Excel will have your revenue, which is your top line, where your money is coming from. It's sales, allowances, which you subtract, and there's the net sales, which is in millions of dollars. And then comes your cost heads. What are the cost heads that you see? And there's an operating profit. It's a mini size version of P&L. Generally is very huge. It's published every year by companies that are public. So as a data scientist, you look at this. Now that you know you need to do some transformation on the bottom line, you need to look at the history, right? So you are looking at the data from 2017 to 2021 to see what is going wrong. Any idea, now that you have this Excel with you, what do you think is happening in this company? Like from the numbers point of view. Anything, what can we do? It's okay, you can say anything. Harsh, why don't you start? You're reading the problem statement. Sorry, I am not able to hear you. Oh, okay, my bad. Yeah, Nirud. So if you have any questions on this, you can ask me, it's fine, you will not be judged. Is there anything that you can think of looking at these numbers? You have historian data, you have some line items. What is the first thing that is coming to you? Yeah. Okay. Cost of call center is the main reason of declining profit. How did you come up with that judgment? Sorry? Sales has increased. Okay. That's actually true. Now you have to put numbers to it. How do you put numbers to it? Percentage wise. Okay. Let's quickly go and do that. So this involves a bit of Excel, but not necessarily. Okay, let's look at the growth. Okay, so let's say this is the final value. Okay, so now again coming to your point, so the answer is, look, your revenue has been growing at 58% on an average, and it actually grown by 58% from 2017 to 2021. Okay, this is not the CAGR, but it has grown by 58%. But your profits has only grown by 25%, right? That means your cost is growing more than your revenue. You are expending more to get more revenue, right? And which is the highest factor here? Call center, 112%. Okay. Second is what? Utilities. Okay. Sorry. Correct. It's because number of employees is growing, right? Now the question is, as you said, it is call center. That is, this is one way of looking at data. The second way is, look, out of my total cost, okay, 1.36 in 2021, the highest cost has come from cost of call center, right? If I have to do something to cut my cost, I should be doing it here. That is the 80-20 rule, right? 80% of the problems will come from 20% of the issues. So here if you look at it, your 85% or somewhere actually less than that, 0.85 out of 1.36 is coming from cost of call center. So you are basically limiting your analysis to cost of call center. Okay, this is the first step in this. Are you getting it? As a data analyst, what you did was you looked at the numbers, looked at the growth over the last 4-5 years and said, hey, look, the problem is coming from this. Did you understand the logic here? Anybody doubt? Anybody having any doubt? You understand the issue of revenue growing, sorry, costs growing faster than revenue? At some point it will flip and come down, right? Your bottom line will decrease after some point because your cost is growing exponentially. Any questions? Are there good insight? Cool. Now you go to the business, right, and ask, okay, why is it increasing? Why is the cost of call center increasing? That is not something that you can get from this number. Sorry? So how do you do it? Now that you have this, as a data scientist, what questions will you ask? What is the cost per call? Very good question. Okay, if I tell you that it is 5 rupees per call, then? Correct. How much calls are we making? So I am saying that, okay, that is showing the same trend. How many people are employed? So for that, first thing is, what is the call center doing, right? What does it do? Is it a customer support call center or is it a customer acquisition call center? There are two types of call centers, right? One that will give you a credit call sir, do you want a card? That you mercilessly cut. And then the second call that you do and then they will make you wait for 20 minutes, right? There's a two. So what type of call center is it that we are talking about? That's the first question, right? The answer is that it's the first type, customer acquisition type, where you call them and say, please take my credit card, please take my this thing, and they, sort of either the customer decides to cut it off or not. Then the second question, okay, this is what I would do, but this may not be the right answer, okay? That is the beauty of analytics. There is no right answer. You cannot go and tell somebody, hey, look, this is wrong. At the same time, you are also right, everybody is right, you are right, everybody is right. Cool. Any questions on this? So you understood how number is mapping back to the business? Did you? Don't worry, your ML will come in. Okay, to give you more information to play with, so this has been outsourced. Okay, this has been outsourced to another firm, this call center, and they charge you on the number of calls that they make, as you pointed out and you pointed out. So the calls that they make, it's of fixed whatever price I told you, which I forgot, and it's on the number of calls they make. So they have been billing us more, okay, because now they are doing more calls. Now the problem is, bro, your calls are increasing, but your sales are not that growing, right? So now you need to look at why are they increasing the number of calls. For whatever reason they are increasing, okay. Sorry? It's okay, you can say whatever comes in your mind, it's fine. This is a metadata. So now you go and talk to the customer call centers and you get some data from them. And as usual, they don't want to share data, which is a cliche thing you will see in almost every company. Nobody wants to share data. Okay, then you follow up, you send a first hi on Teams saying, can you please share the data? Nobody will give a damn. Then you send a second hi. Then you send an email. Then you escalate it. That is the cycle of this. And somehow you got all the customer data. Okay, sorry, all the calls data. Okay, is it readable? Fantastic. This is exactly how a company is gonna give data. Okay, that it'll make you do all sort of work. There was one client that I was working with, not mentioning the client. They sent me an Excel on a PDF. I was like, yeah, wonderful job. You know, must have taken a lot of efforts to convert an Excel to a PDF and send it to me when I would actually look at the Excel. So all these kind of things happen, but as a data scientist, first part of any data is data cleaning. Let me tell you very honestly, machine learning modeling is just 20% of the work. 80% you will be running behind people to get data, cleaning data, understanding data. Then you will find that data is not sufficient. You need to ask for more data. 80% of the time, and that is one of the things I hated in life. But it's not optional. So let's clean this data. How many of you know how to clean this data? Yeah, you seem to have you have something. No, we'll use Excel. We'll start from basics. Yeah, it's actually doable on machine learning, by the way.
If we didn't find that, we need to come at NaN, then we just type drop NaN.
Okay. Do you realize that this is one whole column, right? And it is, if you look at the top line, there is ID, age, job. These seem to be some sort of a column that you can possibly use, but they all seem to be in one line. You cannot do any analytics on that, right? And it seems like these numbers represent these kind of things. Age 56, 31, job is admin, unknown, services, management. They are all separated with a semicolon. Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I think a video is the data is separated by semicolon, and then using Excel they just separate all the semicolons into different columns.
Wonderful. That's actually right. That's exactly what I'm going to show you. Good job. So generally you get such data because generally by commas, not semicolon, because there is a CSV file, right, comma separated, and a lot of outputs of your enterprise systems come out as a CSV file. So first step is to clean this data, which is the most annoying step, trust me. Let's go and quickly clean this. Cool, this looks better. Is this okay? Looking better, something that you can deal with. Now how did we do this, right? This is a simple Excel shortcut. It's Alt-AE. If you want to use it right now, you can just use Alt-AE. Just select the whole of it. I won't teach you all the shortcuts in this, but I'll just tell you the basics so that if you're given a data set like this, you can go ahead and clean the data at least. If you press Alt-AE, how do I go back? Oh, there's no going back. Okay. Are you all done with this? Are you getting something like this? Or are you even doing it? That may be the first question. Did you get something like this? Okay. Are you getting this? Alt. So, all your shortcuts are to this banner, okay, on Excel. So, if you press Alt, you see that all these tabs will come up with some number, with some letters, right? If you press H, your home tab will get activated. And if you press A, which what I am using is data. Okay. Where did it go? Yeah, data, and then E is columns, where you can divide a column. Wait, I'll just show you. If you press Alt-A, it will ideally open a dialog box and just go to delimited. And what is a separator, right? The separator here is a semicolon. Just give that as a option and just press finish. You should see the table expand. Okay. Now that you have the raw data, what will you do with it? What will be the next steps? Did you get it, Harsh? Done? Now I have to pick random. So this is going to be funny. I'm going to call people. So please be ready for it. Did you do? I'm very serious. Oh, okay, nice. Done? Okay, now what is the next step? You have this data cleaned. Now what? Sorry? That's a good way of thinking. That is true. But before that, you need to understand what these things are, right? Columns. Like ID, age are intuitive. What is P outcome, P previous, P days, campaign, duration. What is this month that they're talking about, right? So what do? You sit with the business again and understand what these columns represent, right? Again, they will give you another data dump and it's going to look like this. It's called metadata of a file. Metadata is a map of what your columns are to what it means. So ID is ID of a client, age is a number, job, the type of job that they are in, So balance is how much money does that person have in the bank account in that particular bank. Then default as whether there was a credit default that he has done, he has taken a loan, did he not pay back, those kind of information. Housing is whether they have a housing loan. Loan is whether they have a personal loan. Contact is what is the type of communication that you use to reach out to that customer. Was it a no? So this was a pretty old data that time when you had telephones. Was it through cellular, telephone? Was it text? Whatever it is. Month is the last contact month of the year. So what was the month that you sort of last contacted? Day is last contacted day. Duration is the amount of time that you spend on the call. Correct. Campaign is number of contacts during this campaign. P days is number of dates that passed. So just understand this data a bit better. Then let's come into your graph. Okay. Now we have this data. What are we trying to do here? What is the ultimate goal? We have this data. Okay. Now what? By identifying? Correct. So how do you plan to do that? Okay. That's a good way of doing. But so what I would do in this case is, it's an outsourced call center, right? And it's on them to look at the number of calls. I mean, how much can you control a contracting entity? So what we're trying to do is to see what all types of customer they are, calling, and to see is there a best customer possible, right? Is there like a photo of a customer that I can say you should call these kind of customers, so that the chance of you getting a subscription is higher. Are you getting that point? Are you getting the line of thinking? So here what we are trying to do is to understand first who are the customers actually. Out of, let's say you're calling 10 different types of people, let's say doctors, engineers, pilots and all, who are the people who are converting this versus the best possible scenario. And then we'll tell the call center, hey look, don't call 100 such people, just call these people. They have the highest chance of converting, right? Why are you increasing our costs? In this case, we are only focused on that because the subscription value is not given. We are just given whether they are subscribed or not, right? We are not given any information on what is the subscription value. What if there is a there is a case where a small number of customers accounting to like 80% of the revenue, right? So that's a different case that's generally seen in business to business enterprises. So in my earlier company, we used to have this scenario where 80% of the revenue is controlled by top 5 customers. So this is something that you will eventually see in a lot of B2B. Okay. Now how do I go about doing it? You said that, right? Who said that? Yeah, you were telling something about charts, plots and stuff. What charts do you want to make? Category. Okay. Okay. So what columns do you want to play with here? That's actually true, by the way. What you do here is to look at, this is your variable of interest, right? This is going to be your output. Did that person subscribe? or did that person ignore the call, or did not do anything with it. And so what we are going to do is draw a pen picture of the customer basis all these dimensions: his age, job, marital status, education, whether they have defaulted the loans, balance, housing, etc. Then we are going to come up with a pen picture of a customer and say ki this is the customer that we want, right? Okay. How do we do it? As we said, graph is the best way of doing it, but let's first look at the numbers. I'll show you the graph as well. Now, how do you do this? Okay, let's make a new tab called analysis. And how many of you know pivot tables on Excel? Okay, you know. Okay, pivot table is a function in Excel that makes your life extremely easy when it comes to numbers. Okay, you are seeing a lot of data, right? We don't want this many data. At the end of the day, what we want is something like this: some tables, very small tables. Here on one side we need to look at subscribed or not subscribed. Okay, and on the columns we want, let's say, what are the jobs that we have: services, unemployed, all the types of job. And see, we just need to look at the count, right? That will give us some indication on who our customers are. And how do you generate this table from this raw data? Pivot table comes really handy. Go to insert. In this section there is a table and there is something called a pivot table. So this will generate an analytics table behind the Excel that you have. And what you need to do, can you see on this side there is a column option, row option and value option. So just drag your subscribed to the rows. So it will tell you yes or no. And let's look at jobs, right? Okay, look at jobs. See, you see all the jobs lined up here. What we want is the count of jobs on each bucket, right? Just drop jobs to the values and it will say count of jobs. We can change it by going to value field settings. We can take a sum of it, you can take a average of it, max, min, standard deviation, whatever data that you want, you can do it. Okay, so now we have some numbers out here. Let me copy paste this table to my analysis tab. So there is an option of gray table in Kearney add-ins which you won't have access to, which I have. So I'm using it. Cool. Obsessed with removing the grid lines. So okay. Now that you have these numbers in front of you, what do you do with this? Remember, our ultimate goal is to find the pen picture of a customer, right? Who are the customers? Who do you think are our major customers? Or people who are potential customers, right, for this particular product? People who are in management, okay? People who are in management, then it's very difficult to say something, right? Weird numbers. So how do you make something out? Pie chart? Percentages, very good. Let's do that. Amazing, that's absolutely right. Oh, by the way, this is how a data science process is going to flow. If you are not liking this, it's unfortunately, analytics is not the right profession. Let me be very blunt and tell you this. This is going to be your daily job, whether you land in consulting or analytics. This is the. So if you think it's not the type of engineering that you guys could think of, this is not your stress equation, Navier-Stokes equation. I'm hoping all of you are into non-core, that's the reason why you are all here, right? Okay. So as he mentioned, and pie chart also we'll try. Okay. Let's build a percentage value. Okay, I'm going to divide this by the total. Okay. Okay. So here we have our percentage. Now what do you do? So as you pointed out, you see that management, out of the yeses that we have, the highest is for the management, right? Yeah. And the second highest is, which is the second highest, dude? Technician, yeah, 1.9%. Blue collar is 1.5. Yeah, yes, may. Okay, let's pick top 3. That's good enough, right? See, our problem statement is to reduce the number of calls by telling the call center folks that, hey, look, this is the ideal customers that we are focusing on. Right? We are not going to pick one. I am picking 3 here, but you can very well pick one and do the same analysis. But the problem with picking one is then you are limiting your customer space so much that along with reducing cost, you are also reducing revenue. Right? And this is an iterative process. What happens is you pick one and see what is the impact on revenue, impact on cost, those kind of things. Then you pick 2. It's a long process, okay? Here in this class, I am just picking 3. So you agree that most of your customers are management, technicians and blue collar. Okay, that is one dimension of filter. Okay. Similarly, you can and you should build such columns for each of this. Okay. So you will at the end of the day can come up with actual photo of a customer and say, hey, look, the ideal customer is either it's a admin with the age group of 35 to 45 who is married and who has at least a secondary education, and what else is there, who does not have a loan and who has a bank balance of at least 40,000 rupees. Those kind of details you come up with, and basis that you can filter out the search list of the call center. Okay, that is one way of doing it. Cool. Will you guys do it? We don't have that much time. We have like what? I need to do it. He left. Okay. How much time do we have? 10-20 minutes we have. Okay. So I want all of you to go back to your rooms and try this. Come up with a pen picture. I have the pen picture with me because I have done this before. Right, I will show you, as you said, some graphs. By the way, pie chart is not considered the best graph in the industry. And please do not say pie chart anywhere in the interviews. Nobody likes pie charts. Because of the simple reason that pie chart can represent only one-dimensional data. If it is a column chart or a bar chart or a histogram, it can represent multiple dimensions. Pie chart will give you the percentages, that's it. But more, yeah. Power BI. You increase the number of clicks. In a okay, you're talking about, okay, yeah, I know, Power BI has a pretty good data model, so is Tableau. You work with Power BI? You're tried, it's good. Power BI is one of the, so Tableau and Power BI are considered one of the new age analytics tools. So I think it is said that they somehow replace Excel very shortly, but I don't know. I think Excel is still going to stay for longer. But yeah, if you can pick up Power BI, Tableau, at least the basics, please do that. Okay, now let me quickly show you the results. So I'm gonna have a Python program for this. Not necessary for you to install Python right now. You can just see this and judge. Okay, so how many of you are comfortable with Python notebook? All of you, I hope. If you haven't tried your hands on Python or MATLAB or whatever, I would recommend you to like pick up an online course and do it if you want to do, because Excel you can do a lot of things. We started with Excel because the data is like what, 13,000 rows or something. But honestly, your data in real life is going to be millions and millions of rows and hundreds of columns, so it won't fit in an Excel. And even if it does, Excel crashes very, very often. And when you actually want to do something, it crashes. Right? When you have like a CEO meeting next 5 minutes, you are doing something, Excel crash is gone. It has happened to me 100 times, where the client asks, say, can you pull it out, and then you're in front of the client, you do something, Excel crashes. So this is a very uncomfortable situation with Excel. So I'm gonna look at the data, and these are the questions that you typically ask, right? First question is how many people subscribed? You have 13,000 rows, right? What is the subscription rate? So you plot a chart, say, hey, look, not many people subscribed, right? Out of whatever, 36,000 or whatever, only what, 26, somewhere around that, 26, 27,000 subscribed, and somewhere around, sorry, 3,000 subscribed and 27,000 did not really were interested in our product. So there is a potential to reduce this, right? So for every question you ask, there is a cost associated with it. It's a either cost in terms of time, that you're spending your time on looking at this. So once you get experience, you will quickly understand what type of questions to ask, what type of insights you want from the data, right? These are simply not plotting charts. This is not a Python exercise. These are questions that you ask and you are getting answers from this. Okay, what type of jobs do our customers or subscribers have? So you see this. So this yellow is our customers, and blue plus yellow is the number of calls we did. So you see that management, where is it? Management, technician, and what is the third one? Blue collar, right? Yeah, blue collar have the highest peaks, 3 high enough peaks, and this is our sample size, right? Now the question is, I have such a big sample, right? So the percentage of conversion is low, bro. Now what do you do? Okay, we are ignoring all these things, but still it's considerably higher, right? So is it going to affect my number of calls? Maybe by a small delta, right? Now what do you do? Now that you understood this reality, that hey, look, even if I focus on only 3, it's a considerable amount of calls I need to do. Now what do you do? Any questions? Oh, sorry, any thoughts? It's okay, you can say anything. Yeah, look at conversion rates, or you build a predictor to say that, look, even if it is a management, the high chances of this person converting basis the previous historical data is so much. So only focus on them, right? Just because somebody is a management does not mean he will convert. Look at the data, right? Such a big jump. Correct, absolutely. Correct, exactly. By the way, there is no right or wrong way of doing this. There is just a logical flow of systems that you build and you connect to each other, and then you come up with an answer. And most of the time they will have similar accuracies and stuff. Okay. Just because I am going by this way doesn't mean it is true, or doesn't mean it is false, or it has to be the universal truth. You can do in 100 different ways and come up with the same answer or similar answer. So yeah, as he said, we are going to explore more. Okay, what do you think? Okay, how is message related to subscribers? Okay, you see that married people are buying this product more, right? Any idea why? Well, I don't know. So you ask the business key, is there a business reason why married people buy this product more? Or is it because you are contacting more of them, right? Yeah, correct. Correct. That is true. So how do you now that you identified the challenge, what do you think we should do?
Maybe we should reduce the calls going to married people and instead of
Okay, calls going to married people, we should focus on single people is what you're telling. Okay. Now let me come up with an equation and tell you why you should focus on married people. Okay. You're right. The percentage wise, yes, single people are having a higher chance of a conversion. But is that what you want? You want the total number to be high, right? Your revenue is nothing but number of customers into price paid, right? And price paid is, let's say, assume is constant, then you need to boost this, right? So yes, now the second problem is that in the pool there aren't many single people. right? You see the pool size, right? There aren't many single people out there. Now, there's only one dimension that we are looking at and we are judging it. Ideally, we should have like all dimensions sitting together, and there are different ways of doing it. There's something called segmentation algorithms that have you heard about k-means? So that will sort of segment your customers into a union of all these dimensions, and will come up with a pen picture that I was telling you earlier about. Okay, it's okay to not hear about these algorithms. You can always go back and learn, and it's again not mandatory to learn it. So here, now that we identified this challenge, there are a few more graphs that we can plot. Since time is running out and I have like one more slide to cover, let me quickly show you. So in this graph, what do you think? What can you think of? So look at it from 2 points. We need enough customers, and we need to ensure that the absolute, not just the absolute number, the percentage is also high, right? We have a very valid point. What do you think about the education level of our customers? Is it okay if I tell you that we should at least target people with at least secondary education? Okay, unknown, I don't even know what it is. Primary though is very small, even not just in terms of actual numbers but also in terms of sample pool, right? Secondary seems to be ideal, also is tertiary, at least secondary, okay? Okay, housing loans, these are all insights that we are generating. We haven't built the model yet. What do you think from this? Should we focus on customers with or without housing loans? Without. Okay, this doesn't have any caveat as you mentioned. Same with this case. So the best way is what of contacting the customer is cellular contact, which is also in this diagram. It's somewhat, I think it's okay to say that both the percentage conversion as well as the number of conversions, both the metrics are okay. Now here, best month to contact, it's okay. This is just to tell the customer care, a little bit more of information. So now what we are going to do is predict based on all these parameters that you have, build a predictor and deploy it at the customer care and or call center and tell them, hey, look, the moment you are going to call somebody, put all the parameters in that, and the predictor will tell you the probability of conversion. Okay, the predictor is going to tell you that this is going to be a potential customer or not, and if it is not, please don't call and increase our cost, right? You are understanding what the logical thought process is till now. Are you liking it? It's okay if you are not liking it, it's totally fine. And this is not the only right way, there are 100 different ways of doing it. So I'm just going to quickly run through it and then we'll come to the interview questions as well. So here what I'm trying to do, so I'm just going to ignore all these things. This is available online anyway, this data set and stuff. So here we are going to build a model and going to test for accuracy. We are going to build two models. One is called random forest and the other is called logistic regression. Okay, in data science you build at least 5 models or at least 3 models. Look for which model is going to give you the best results and deploy that. Okay. So you see that random forest has an overall accuracy of, let's say, 0.82%. Sorry, 0.82, which is 82%. Okay, which is good enough. And logreg or logistic regression is 82.16, which is also okay. By the way, this is train accuracy, testing accuracy haven't been plotted yet. So you will deploy one of the two models. Okay, and how do you deploy? Are you going to give this Python file to the operator? No, right? He'll go mad on this. And the problem in data science a lot of the times is these people that you are going to give this model to, they are not tech savvy, not judgment, but they don't want to look at Python codes, Excels and stuff. What they want is, you have to spoon feed them. Everybody likes it, right? When everything is given to you in a plate. So now, having said this, you will actually make a dashboard on top of it and deploy at the customer care, where they can just quickly enter the data points, and the dashboard will tell you, like a calculator, tell you that, look, don't call this customer. Fair and square, right? That is what you're going to do. We're not going to build a dashboard here in the interest of time. So I hope you appreciate the process from business. So here you need to ask a lot of business questions on, why are secondary, why is it that our customers have at least secondary education, right? What is the type of product? What is the type of, who are the customers? Those kind of things. So this is the typical day for data scientist. Now coming back to our presentation, right? Don't worry, after this is the last slide. Now, how do you prepare for interviews? As you were asking, first thing is, please prepare your statistics. Okay, this is one thing that will tell the interviewer that, look, you are really serious about analytics, right? And it's not just one of the interviews that you are attending, right? So any basic textbook in statistics will work. If you are interested, you can write me an email. I can send you some questions and yeah, it's on the first page. Yeah, you can pick it up from here. Please read about statistics. Please read about hypothesis testing. Please read about linear regression, logistic regressions. And these are the things that the interviewer. Is it done? I'll change to the. See, when you go to an interview room and tell them, hey, look, I'm interested in analytics, this is a career that I want to have, then you should have some basics ready, right? If something interests you, you will go behind it, you will follow it, right? That's how generally things work. Like if you say you are passionate about badminton, you generally tend to at least know the rules of badminton. So here, at least basic statistics. A cliche question, let me give out this question. One of the cliché questions that I've heard in all the interview questions is, what is the basic assumptions of linear regression? There are like 4 different assumptions. Homoscedasticity, then multicollinearity, and those kind of 4 different ones. This is like the clichéest question any data science interview will have. So at least prepare this and you might get 1 question correct. Okay, do you have to be good with numbers? Absolutely not. You don't have to be that human computer where you can calculate 145 into 375 in a matter of a second. You don't have to do that. Look, you have a calculator for a reason, right? You have an Excel for a reason. But these kind of things are really, really important. And if you're mentioning any project in your CV, please know that project end to end. If I were an interviewer, I would pick up on that project and dig you to see what you've done, what type of models you have used, what is the thought process in the model. And all. Second thing is more of an optional item to know if you have some basic programming experience, please highlight that in your CVs. Really helps the interviewer know that, look, if I just throw him with a bunch of senior data scientists, he will not trouble them too much, at least from the coding point of view. And the reason for coding is just to make sure that you are capable of analyzing a huge data set. Okay, it's okay to have errors. When I was starting off, there were like only errors in my Python script, even now. And then if you have used, if you have mentioned about any course project that you have done with Python, MATLAB or something, please know that as well. One of the cliché questions that gets asked here is, I think, the difference between matrices in Python and MATLAB. So the way you define the rows and columns is flipped for a reason, right? Are you aware of that? It's okay, you can read about that. And the third thing is, why analytics? Or your HR part. Please don't ignore this part. It's the most critical part of an entry level interview. When you grow older, when you have like 3 to 4 years experience, then this kind of part, the importance of this sort of goes away, and this too will, increase. At the entry level, it's 33% split on all 3. But at least you need to know your resumes. At least you need to know why do you want to do analytics. And let me tell you, this is not the end of the world if analytics, everybody doesn't have to be an analyst. So please follow your passion. That is what I would do, because your job is going to consume a good chunk of your time. And if you're not loving it, you will, or at least liking it, you will have a miserable life. So please be aware, or please be sure what you are entering into, and please prepare your HR topics well. Even if you don't have any of these things ready, you can start right now. I think interviews are 2 months from now, right? If you are sitting for placements, or even if you are a 3rd year student, 2nd year student for which mean, so many second students are there. You have plenty of time. You can start right now and become a good data analytics fellow. Right, having bored you enough for the last 1.5 hours, any questions and questions that you want to ask, I may or may not be able to answer, but or you can reach me out on phone or email. Placement people will still have to sit for some more time before I show the QR code for your attendance, or what is it? Placement points, is it? Oh, there's, yeah, for certificates and placement points, whatever. If there are no questions, we'll directly go to the most important slide. Please scan this and get your attendance. And thank you for tolerating me for the last 1.5 hours. Alright, thank you folks. Have a great evening ahead and all the best. Oh, you have a script prepared for that also, right? What is this? Oh, I thought it was snacks for you. Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. And thank you for having me here.